Hello there and welcome to Science for Bedtime. I'm so glad you found your way here. Let the day soften behind you now, like distant lights dimming one by one across a quiet valley. Loosen your shoulders, breathe in slowly, and let the warmth of your blanket settle around you like soft mist drifting through the pines. There is nowhere you need to be tonight. Nothing left to carry, nothing left to solve. The world has gently agreed to wait for you until morning, and the hours ahead belong only to your rest. Tonight, we wander together into one of the most peaceful places on Earth, Yosemite. A valley carved by ancient ice, watched over by silent granite giants, hushed by waterfalls that have been singing the same gentle lullaby for thousands of years. We will move slowly through its meadows, beneath its towering sequoias, along its quiet rivers, and into the deep hush of its starry sky. Every fact we share will arrive softly, like a feather landing on still water. There is no rush here, only wonder, only quiet, only rest. If you find your eyes growing heavy, let them close. If sleep begins to fold itself around you like a warm blanket, simply let it. That is exactly what this story is here for. And if our gentle stories help carry you into rest, you are warmly invited to leave a quiet like and to subscribe so you can find your way back whenever sleep feels far away. Each small gesture helps our little candle of calm shine for others searching for stillness, just as you are tonight. So settle deeper into your pillow now. Let your breath slow into the rhythm of pine branches swaying in a soft mountain wind. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on a slow-moving stream. And as the valley opens before you in the silver light of memory and moonlight, let's begin this slow and soothing journey together. Imagine, for a moment, that you're standing at the gentle entrance of the Yosemite Valley, just as the last colors of evening begin to fade. The air is cool and clean, scented faintly with cedar and warm stone. A soft breeze drifts down from the high country, carrying with it the distant whisper of falling water. Above you, granite cliffs rise slowly into a deepening sky, their faces glowing with the last soft amber of the setting sun. There is no hurry here, no need to move at all. The valley breathes, and you breathe with it. And as the stars begin to appear, one by one, our slow and tender story begins. Yosemite Valley was carved long ago by slow rivers of ancient ice, glaciers that moved across the land with a patience deeper than time itself. They drifted down from the mountains like sleeping giants turning gently in their dreams, smoothing the stone beneath them as softly as a hand passing over still water. Inch by quiet inch, they shaped the cliffs and meadows we know today, rounding the granite into long, flowing curves. There was no hurry in their work, no urgency at all, only the soft rhythm of frozen rivers breathing against the earth. Even now, the valley remembers. Every smooth wall, every gentle slope, every hushed bend in the river carries the soft fingerprint of that ancient ice. And tonight, as you rest, you can almost feel that same slow patience flowing through the land, whispering that everything beautiful is shaped slowly, gently, and with great tenderness. The valley itself is shaped like a long, peaceful cradle, opening wide between towering walls of pale granite. From above, it looks as though the mountains have folded their hands together to hold something precious within them. Meadows of soft grass rest along its floor, golden in the late afternoon, silver under moonlight. The Merced River winds through it in slow, lazy curves. Like a ribbon dropped gently across the land, mist gathers in its low places at dawn, soft and dreamlike, as though the valley itself is exhaling the last of its dreams. Wildflowers tilt their heads toward the sun, deer move in quiet patterns across the open fields, and pine trees breathe a gentle scent into the cool air. It is a place built for stillness, for slowness, for the quiet kind of beauty that only reveals itself to those who linger. High above the valley floor stands El Capitan, a single, immense wall of granite reaching nearly 3,000 feet into the sky. It is one of the largest exposed pieces of stone on Earth, yet it stands with such quiet grace that it seems almost to be sleeping. In the morning, its face glows pale gold, catching the very first light of dawn. By midday, it shines silver and warm. At sunset, it turns the soft pink of distant clouds, holding the last colors of day long after the valley below has fallen into shade. Climbers may scale its surface slowly, like tiny dreams ascending a mountain. But for most, El Capitan is simply admired from below, its silent presence a reminder that some things are made to be still, to be steady, to remain unmoved through every passing season. Beside El Capitan, the gentle giant half-dome rises with its rounded, weathered crown. Long ago, it was thought to be a full dome of stone, but glaciers slowly carried away one of its faces, leaving the soft, sweeping curve we see today. From the valley floor, it looks as though a great wave of granite has been frozen mid-motion, holding its breath against the sky. In the early morning, clouds sometimes drift across its summit like soft scarves of mist, and at twilight, its face glows with the deep rose of the setting sun. The wind that travels its smooth back is older than language. Carrying whispers from the high country, Half Dome has watched countless sunsets, listened to countless rivers, and held countless quiet evenings in its stone embrace. Tonight, watches over your rest as gently as any old, patient friend. Yosemite Falls is one of the tallest waterfalls in all of North America, dropping nearly 2,400 feet through 3 soft, silvery tiers. Its waters do not crash so much as fall in long, slow ribbons, drifting down through the air like long strands of moonlight unraveling from the sky. The wind sometimes catches the spray and lifts it sideways, painting the granite walls with mist and gentle rainbows. In the spring, when the snow above begins to melt, the falls swell into a soft thunder that rolls quietly through the valley. By late summer, the flow softens to a whisper, sometimes vanishing entirely, only to return when the rains come again. Like a quiet song, it sings only in season, reminding us that even the most beautiful voices need their moments of rest. There is a magical phenomenon at Yosemite Falls called the moonbow, a rainbow made not by sunlight, but by the silver light of the full moon. On clear nights when the falls are full and the moon hangs high over the cliffs, beams of soft light pass through the rising mist and bloom into a faint, pale arc of color. It is gentler than a daytime rainbow, softer, almost like a dream you cannot quite remember in the morning. People who see it often speak in whispers, as if afraid their voices might disturb the delicate magic of the air. The colors are washed in silver and pearl, more felt than seen. To witness one is to feel the universe quietly smiling, reminding us that even the night holds its own kinds of light, its own quiet wonders, waiting patiently for those who pause to look. Bridal Fall, on the southern side of the valley, drops in long, graceful strands of water nearly 600 feet from the cliff above. The native Awanichi people called it Pohono, meaning the spirit of the puffing wind, because the falling water often catches the breeze and dances sideways, swirling like a long veil of silk. In the late afternoon, sunlight passes through the spray and creates soft rainbows that arch and fade in the gentle wind. The mist drifts so lightly that it seems weightless, blessing the trees and stones below with a fine, cool kiss. Standing near it, you can feel the air grow tender, almost alive, brushing your skin like the lightest touch. Bridal Veil Fall does not roar, it sings, and its quiet music has filled the valley with peace for thousands of patient years. The Merced River is the gentle, winding heart of Yosemite Valley. Its name means River of Mercy, given long ago by Spanish travelers who found its waters cool and welcoming after a long, dusty journey. It flows softly across the valley floor, curving lazily through meadows, past granite walls, beneath wooden bridges weathered by time. In the spring, it runs strong with snowmelt, clear as polished glass. In summer, it slows into shallow pools where deer come to drink at dusk, their reflections shimmering on the surface. In autumn, golden leaves drift along its surface like tiny boats. And in winter, frost edges its banks in delicate lace. The Merced has carried countless seasons in its quiet current, never hurrying, never resting. It teaches us, simply by flowing, that gentleness is its own kind of strength. Tuolumne Meadows lies high in the mountains above the valley, a wide and open field of soft grass nearly 9,000 feet above the sea. In the summer, wildflowers bloom across it in waves of color, lupine and paintbrush and tiny white stars of yarrow swaying in the cool mountain wind. Granite domes rise gently around its edges, like silent guardians watching over a quiet child. The Tuolumne River drifts through it in lazy curves, catching the sky on its surface. At dawn, mist rises slowly from the cold grass, and at dusk, the entire meadow turns gold, as though a great lantern has been lit somewhere just beyond the horizon. It is a place of softness in the high country, a hidden sanctuary of stillness, where even the mountains seem to lean in close and speak in a quieter voice. Long before there were trails or names, the Awanichi people lived in this valley, calling it Awani, which means the place of the gaping mouth, for the way the great cliffs opened wide to embrace the land. They moved with the seasons, gathering acorns from black oak trees, fishing in the cool rivers, weaving baskets of such fine craft that they could hold water without leaking a drop. Their stories were told around quiet fires, passed gently from grandparent to child, woven into the rhythm of the valley itself. They lived softly upon the land, leaving little behind but reverence and song. Even now, if you listen carefully on a still evening, you can almost feel the echo of their voices in the wind, a gentle reminder that this valley has always been beloved, always cherished, always seen as sacred ground. The giant sequoias of Yosemite are among the oldest living beings on Earth. Some have been standing quietly for more than 3,000 years, growing in slow, peaceful rhythm long before great cities rose, long before the first letters were written. Their trunks are the color of warm cinnamon, with bark so thick and soft you could press your hand to it and feel its quiet warmth. They reach so high that their tops disappear into the morning mist, and their roots spread wide and shallow, holding hands with one another beneath the forest floor. The light beneath them is hushed and golden, filtered through countless tender needles. Standing among them, time itself seems to slow, as if the trees are gently reminding us that growth need not be hurried, that patience can build the tallest, most beautiful things in the world. The Mariposa Grove is home to over 500 mature giant sequoias, gathered together like a quiet family in the southern reaches of Yosemite. Among them stands the grizzly giant, believed to be more than 2,700 years old. Its trunk is so wide that 20 people could circle it with arms outstretched, and still not quite reach all the way around. Walking among these trees, the air feels different, deeper somehow, softer. Sunlight falls through the high canopy in long, gentle shafts, lighting tiny ferns and moss-covered stones below. Squirrels move quietly along the bark, and the wind carries a faint scent of warm cedar and damp earth. To stand in their presence is to feel a great calm settle over you, as though the trees themselves are exhaling thousands of years of patience into your tired heart. Sequoia trees grow from cones no larger than a chicken's egg, each one holding hundreds of seeds, smaller than flakes of oatmeal. From these tiny beginnings, the tallest and largest living things on Earth slowly rise. The cones often need the gentle warmth of fire to open, releasing their seeds onto the cleared forest floor where sunlight can reach them. It is a tender kind of magic, The way something so vast begins from something so small. Each seed waits patiently for the right moment, the right warmth, the right whisper of opportunity, just as we sometimes wait for the right season of our own lives. And once they begin, they grow with quiet determination for thousands of years, asking nothing of the world but soft rain, golden sunlight, and the gentle company of the wind passing through their high green branches. The bark of the giant sequoia can grow nearly 3 feet thick, soft and fibrous to the touch, almost like layered velvet. It protects the tree from fire, from insects, from the long cold of winter, like an old quilt stitched together over centuries. When you press your hand to it, the bark gives just slightly, warm from the afternoon sun. In some places, it is the color of deep honey. In others, the rich red of a fading ember. Tiny insects make their homes within its grooves. Lichens bloom in pale silver patches, and birds build small nests in its sheltered folds. The tree gives quietly, asking nothing in return, simply continuing to grow, to breathe, to live its long and gentle life. Its bark is a slow story, written in soft layers, telling of thousands of seasons spent standing patient beneath the open sky. Black bears roam the forests of Yosemite, though despite their name, many are not black at all. Some are cinnamon, some honey brown, some the soft gold of late autumn leaves. They walk on quiet paws through the underbrush, their movements almost meditative, pausing often to sniff the air, to listen to a distant stream, to gaze peacefully at a patch of berries ripening in the sun. In the spring, mothers walk slowly with their tiny cubs, teaching them which berries to taste, which logs to turn over, which streams to fish. By autumn, they grow plump and slow, preparing for the long, soft sleep of winter. Their dens are tucked into hollow trees and stone crevices, lined with grass and warm leaves. Even in their wildness, they seem peaceful, gentle creatures of the forest who know the deep value of resting well. The mule deer of Yosemite move through the meadows like quiet shadows, their ears tall and listening, their steps light upon the grass. They are named for the long, soft ears that resemble those of a mule, and they have eyes the color of warm chestnuts, gentle and alert. In the early morning, they gather in small family groups along the edges of the meadow, nibbling on tender grass, still cool with dew. Fawns, born in late spring, wear coats dappled with white spots, blending so perfectly with the sun-flecked forest floor that they seem to disappear entirely when they curl up to rest. The mothers stand watch nearby, calm and patient, listening for the slightest sound. At dusk, the deer drift toward the river to drink, their reflections shimmering softly in the slow water before they vanish gently back into the trees. Coyotes wander the meadows of Yosemite, especially in the soft hours of dawn and twilight. Their coats are the color of dry grass and golden earth, blending so well with the landscape that they seem to appear and disappear like patient ghosts. They move with a quiet trot, ears swiveling, noses gently testing the air. They eat mice and berries and small insects, and they are deeply curious creatures, often pausing to gaze across a meadow with what looks like quiet thought. At night, their voices weave into the soundscape of the valley, gentle yips and long, low calls that drift like silver threads through the dark. It is not a sound to fear, but a sound that speaks of wildness, of belonging, of a world still alive with quiet magic, even while most of us are drifting peacefully off to sleep. The Sierra Nevada bighorn sheep is one of the rarest and most peaceful inhabitants of Yosemite's high country. They climb the rocky cliffs with astonishing grace, their hooves softly cushioned to grip the smallest ledges. Their coats are the warm gray of mountain stone, and the rams carry curling horns that spiral gently like the patterns of shells. They live high above the valley, where the air is thin and the wind carries the scent of distant pines. They graze on tiny alpine plants, drink from clear glacier-fed pools, and rest in the quiet sun on warm granite ledges. Once nearly vanished, they have slowly returned to the high mountains, walking the same ancient paths their ancestors walked thousands of years ago. They live softly, climbing and resting, breathing the cold mountain air, beneath a sky so deep and blue it almost feels like the sea. Marmots live among the rocks of the high country, plump and golden creatures who sun themselves on warm boulders. They look almost like sleepy little bears, round and soft, with bright, dark eyes and long whiskers. They live in colonies, tucked into burrows beneath the stones, and they spend much of the summer eating wildflowers and grasses, fattening themselves for the long winter ahead. Their whistles, sharp and clear, echo across the alpine meadows when one spots a hawk or fox in the distance. But mostly, they rest. They lie spread out on flat rocks, their bellies pressed warm against the stone, eyes half closed, breathing slow. By autumn, they retreat into their dens to sleep through the cold months, curled tight like soft, breathing stones, waking gently only when the long warmth of summer returns to call them back into the open air. The pika is one of the smallest and most charming creatures of the Yosemite high country, no larger than a soft round biscuit with rounded ears and a tiny black nose. It lives among the boulders and talus slopes near the timberline. Pikas are tireless gatherers, collecting flowers and grasses through the short alpine summer, drying them in the sun, and storing them in little piles called hay piles, hidden among the rocks. These hay piles will feed them through the long winter, when they remain awake beneath the deep snow. Their voices are tiny, high squeaks that drift across the rocks like the chimes of small bells. To watch a pika at work is to feel the quiet beauty of preparation, the gentle wisdom of gathering small comforts now, so that when the cold comes, there will always be something soft and warm to return to. Above the meadows, peregrine falcons trace slow circles in the air. They are among the fastest creatures in the world when diving, but most of the time, they soar, drifting on warm columns of rising air with their wings barely moving. Their feathers are the color of slate and warm pearl, and their eyes are sharp and bright, missing nothing. They nest on the high cliffs of El Capitan and other granite walls, raising their young in tiny scrapes of stone hundreds of feet above the valley floor. From their lofty perch, they watch the world below as though it were a quiet, slow-moving river of green and silver. At sunset, they return to their nests, settling their wings around their young like soft gray blankets, and the valley grows quieter as the day folds gently into evening. The Steller's jay is one of Yosemite's most striking birds, a creature of deep cobalt blue with a charming black crest atop its head. It moves through the conifer forests with a confident grace, hopping from branch to branch, calling out in clear, ringing tones. Its wings, when caught by sunlight, shimmer in 100 shades of blue and indigo, like fragments of a summer sky given soft form. Steller's jays are intelligent and curious, often watching travelers from a nearby branch with what almost looks like quiet thoughtfulness. In the autumn, they busy themselves storing acorns and pine seeds, hiding them among rocks and roots for the long winter ahead. They are the bright punctuation in the green sentences of the forest, small flashes of color that remind us how much beauty quietly lives, just within reach of our gentle, watchful eyes. The great gray owl is one of the rarest and most quietly magnificent birds of Yosemite. With a wingspan nearly 5 feet wide and feathers the soft color of weathered birchwood, it glides silently through the high meadows at dusk. Its face is a perfect round disc, the color of pale moonlight, with 2 round yellow eyes that seem to see straight through the dark. Special feathers along the edges of its wings allow it to fly without making a single whisper of sound, drifting through the night like a slow, breathing shadow. It listens for tiny sounds beneath the snow, Even the heartbeat of a mouse hidden a foot below the surface. Few people ever see one, but those who do speak of it in hushed voices, as though they have witnessed a quiet ghost made of feathers and patient. Ancient wisdom. The American dipper is a small, slate-gray bird that lives along Yosemite's clear, cold streams. It is one of the only songbirds in the world that can swim. With a confident bob of its head, it walks straight into the rushing water and disappears beneath the surface, hunting tiny insects among the smooth river stones. Then, just as easily, it pops back up onto a wet rock and gives a cheerful little dip of its body, as though greeting the world all over again. It sings a clear, tumbling song that mingles with the music of the water, so that on a quiet afternoon by the river, you cannot always tell which sound is bird and which is stream. They are tiny, joyful spirits of the water, gentle reminders that even in cold currents, life finds its own peaceful rhythm. The clear, cold streams of Yosemite are alive with rainbow trout, slim and graceful, their sides shimmering with bands of silver, rose, and pale green. They drift in the slow pools beneath waterfalls, hovering almost perfectly still in the current, their tails moving in lazy, hypnotic arcs. Sunlight filters down through the water in soft, broken patterns, dappling their backs in shifting gold. They feed gently on tiny insects that drift along the surface, rising in slow, deliberate motions to take them in with the smallest splash. In the deeper pools, they rest in the shade of overhanging rocks, hidden in the cool blue-green of the water. They are quiet creatures of the river, living their lives in a slow and steady rhythm, carried always forward, always softly, by the patient flow of mountain water. High in the Sierra Nevada, snow falls softly through the long winter months, blanketing the high country in a hush of white. Each flake drifts down in its own slow spiral, settling layer upon layer until the meadows become wide quilts of silver. The trees wear soft cloaks of snow upon their branches, and the river slows beneath thin sheets of ice that glow faintly blue in the morning light. Even sound itself seems to soften in such a landscape. Footsteps muffled, voices hushed, as though the whole world has agreed to whisper. Animals retreat into their warm dens, and the granite cliffs stand quiet and still, dressed in white. Winter in Yosemite is not a sleeping land, but a resting one, gathering its strength in stillness, breathing slowly beneath the snow, dreaming patiently of the soft green return of spring. When spring arrives in Yosemite, it comes slowly and tenderly, almost shyly. The snow melts in soft stages, first along the south-facing slope, then trickling down through the rocks in tiny silver streams. The waterfalls begin to swell, growing louder week by week as the high country releases its long-held winters. Wildflowers push up through the still cold earth, beginning with tiny snow plants the color of crimson velvet, then violets, then meadow buttercups. The birds return, one quiet song at a time, until the valley fills with the soft music of new life. The deer step into the meadows with their tender fawns, and bears emerge sleepy-eyed from their winter dens. Spring in Yosemite is a slow awakening, a gentle breath drawn deep into the lungs of the land, reminding us that all beautiful things return softly, in their own quiet time. Summer in Yosemite is long and golden, a season of warm air, deep skies, and the gentle hum of bees moving lazily through wildflower meadows. The granite cliffs hold the warmth of the sun like ancient stones in a fireplace, and at evening, you can press your hand to them and feel the day still resting inside. The waterfalls slow into softer ribbons, and the rivers grow shallow and clear, their pebbles shining beneath the sun-warmed water. Children of all ages wade quietly into the calm pools, and butterflies drift across the meadows in slow, dancing patterns. The light lasts long into the evening, and the twilight lingers like a sweet, drawn-out breath. Summer here is unhurried, generous, full of small wonders, a season that seems to linger on purpose, asking us to slow our own steps and stay a while longer. Autumn paints the valley in soft shades of amber, gold, and rose. The black oaks turn the warm color of toasted honey. The dogwoods deepen into a tender pink, and the cottonwoods along the river shimmer like coins in a slow stream of silver. Cool mornings bring soft mists rising from the meadows, and the air carries the gentle scent of fallen leaves, dry pine, and damp stone. Bears wander through the orchards of wild apples, and squirrels move busily, gathering pine nuts in quiet preparation for the coming snows. The light grows lower in the sky, casting long, peaceful shadows across the granite walls. There is a sense of quiet completion in the air, a soft farewell to summer's brightness, a gentle welcome to winter's coming hush. Autumn in Yosemite is not an ending, but a slow and tender folding of the year. The cathedral range rises in the high country like a long line of carved stone spires, their peaks pointing gently toward the heavens. They are made of pale granite, often dusted with snow, even in the warmest months, and their faces glow soft pink in the early morning light. From the meadows below, they look almost like the towers of a dreamed-of cathedral, a quiet temple built by patient ice over countless thousands of years. The wind that flows between them is fresh and clean, carrying the scent of high alpine flowers and cold mountain water. Birds wheel softly around their summits, and tiny clouds rest gently against their flanks. Standing among them, the world feels still and reverent, as though even the air itself has paused to listen. The mountains seem to whisper, quietly and kindly, that there is nothing to do here but breathe. Cathedral Peak is the gentle heart of the cathedral range, a single elegant spire of granite that rises sharply from the surrounding meadows. Its summit is no larger than a small platform of stone, and from the top, the whole high country opens below like a quilt of green and silver. The mountain was first climbed many years ago by a man named John Muir, who reached its summit in soft moccasins, gazing out at a world he loved with all his quiet, watchful heart. Even now, the peak stands as it always has, patient and unchanged, watching the slow drift of seasons across the alpine country. Wildflowers cluster at its base in summer, and snow drifts gently along its shoulders in winter. It is a mountain that asks nothing, only stands silent and serene, holding the sky above the meadows like a single tender hand. Tenaya Lake rests in the high country like a polished mirror set among the granite domes. Its waters are a clear, deep blue, fed by snowmelt and glacier-fed streams, so cold and pure that they seem almost aglow from within. The lake is surrounded by smooth, pale rock, sloping gently down to its sandy shore, and tall pines lean over its edges, their reflections shimmering on the still surface. In the morning, mist rises slowly from the water, drifting in soft veils through the trees. By midday, the surface becomes a perfect mirror, holding the sky and the mountains within itself. At sunset, the lake catches the last warm colors of the day, glowing rose and gold. There is a deep silence here, an old and gentle quiet, the kind that asks nothing and gives back peace, slowly, like a long breath drawn at twilight. Lambert Dome rises above Tuolumne Meadows, like a great whale of pale granite resting in a sea of grass. It was shaped by the slow, patient passage of ancient glaciers, and its smooth back glows softly in the afternoon sun. From the top, the whole high country opens around you, mile after mile of meadow and stone and sky. Climbers move slowly along its gentle slopes, but most simply sit upon its broad summit and gaze out at the world. The wind carries the scent of warm stone and high grasses, and the silence is so deep you can hear your own slow breath. Marmots whistle from the rocks below, and tiny clouds drift across the immense sky. Lambert Dome holds within it a sense of timelessness, a feeling that here, in this place, The world has agreed to slow itself just a little. The Tuoluman River flows through the high country, like a silver thread laid gently upon green velvet. It begins in the snowfields high above and winds slowly through the meadows, curving in lazy patterns that seem in no hurry to reach anywhere at all. In some places, it spreads wide and shallow over smooth granite slabs, gathering the sun upon its surface. In others, it gathers in deep, clear pools where trout drift in slow circles beneath the shadows of overhanging willows. The water is cold and pure, the color of pale jade in the morning light, sapphire by midday. Along its banks, wildflowers bloom in tender clusters, and the air carries the sweet, clean scent of damp grass. The Tuolumne does not rush. It moves the way an old story is told, gently, quietly, with all the time in the world to spare. Glacier Point looks out from the southern rim of Yosemite Valley like a great stone balcony in the sky. From its edge, you can see the entire valley spread below. The green ribbon of the Merced River, the silver thread of Yosemite Falls, the pale curve of Half Dome rising into the distance. The view is so vast it almost takes the breath away. A wide and gentle painting comes softly to life. In summer, wildflowers bloom along its rocky paths, and pine trees lean over the edge as if peering down at the world. At sunset, the granite cliffs across the valley turn the warm color of glowing embers, and the long shadows of evening pour slowly into the valley below. Glacier Point teaches a quiet lesson, that some of the most beautiful sights are best seen from a place of stillness and patience. Sentinel Rock stands tall along the southern wall of Yosemite Valley, a slender granite spire watching silently over the meadows below. Its name was given by early travelers who saw it as a guardian of the valley, watching the slow turning of seasons with patient, unblinking calm. In the morning light, it glows soft amber. By twilight, deepens into a quiet rose. Climbers who scale its face describe it as one of the most peaceful walls in all the valley, with smooth granite and gentle handholds carved by centuries of patient stone. From its summit, the wind moves freely, and the river below glints like a slow ribbon of silver. Sentinel Rock has watched over the valley for thousands of quiet years, and it stands tonight just as it always has, patient and steady, holding silent vigil beneath the soft stars. The three brothers are a trio of pale granite peaks rising along the northern rim of Yosemite Valley, their summits stepping gently upward, one after another. Long ago, the Awanichi called them after three sons of an honored chief, brothers who walked together through the valley long before our time. From below, they look almost like soft waves of stone, climbing patiently into the sky. The lowest brother sits closest to the meadows. The second rises behind it, and the highest, called Eagle Peak, lifts its quiet face into the clouds. In the early morning, mist gathers around their feet, and at sunset, their faces glow in soft pinks and golds. They stand together as they always have, three silent companions, sharing the slow turning of the years, leaning gently on each other in the quiet way that brothers always do. Ribbon Fall is the tallest single drop of water in all of Yosemite, falling more than 1,500 feet in a single, unbroken cascade. It flows only in the springtime, when the snowmelt is full, and it pours down the western face of El Capitan in a long, silver ribbon, just as its name suggests. The water falls so far through the air that much of it drifts into mist before reaching the ground, painting the cliffs with a soft veil of moving silver. Sunlight passing through this mist creates faint rainbows, drifting and fading like soft dreams. By summer, the fall grows quiet and disappears entirely, returning only when the next year's snows bring it back to life. It is a fleeting beauty, a tender visitor, a gentle reminder that some of the most beautiful things in life are also the most softly impermanent. Vernal Fall is a wide, gentle curtain of water that drops nearly 300 feet down a smooth granite face. The mist that rises from its base earned the trail above it the name of the Mist Trail, where hikers walk slowly through fine, cool spray under the warm sun. Rainbows often form here in the late morning, arching softly across the falling water like ribbons of light. Below, the river gathers in a clear emerald pool, calm as polished glass, before flowing on toward the valley. The granite around the falls is smooth from countless years of water and patient touch. Standing nearby, the cool mist gently kisses your face, and the sound of the falling water becomes a steady, calming hum, almost like a lullaby sung very gently by the river itself, low and soft and full of peace. Nevada Fall lies just above Vernal Fall, a tall, white tumble of water that drops nearly 600 feet in a single graceful leap. It is named for the Sierra Nevada, the great range of snowy mountains. And indeed, the falling water often looks like a long curtain of fresh snow caught mid-flight. The water spreads as it falls, broadening into a wide, shimmering veil before crashing softly into the river below. From the trail above, you can stand near the lip of the falls and watch the water gather speed before tipping over the edge. Calm one moment, falling the next, in the gentle way that all things follow their natural path. Mist rises always around the base, cooling the warm summer air. It is a place of soft thunder and tender beauty, where stone and water meet in patient, eternal embrace. The Mist Trail is one of the most beloved paths in all of Yosemite, winding gently up through the spray of Vernal and Nevada Falls. Stone steps, smoothed by countless quiet feet, climb the granite cliffs in a long, patient stairway. The mist rises constantly, cool against your skin, painting the trail in fine silver droplets. Wildflowers grow in cracks of stone along the path, and tiny ferns lean over the edges, drinking the moisture of the falling water. Travelers walk the trail slowly, pausing often to gaze at the rainbows that bloom and fade in the spray. In the afternoon, the sunlight falls in soft, slanting beams, lighting the trail like a winding ribbon of gold and silver. It is a path made for slowness, for quiet wonder, where each step takes you a little closer to a deep, settling peace. Yosemite is filled with hidden meadows, small and tender places folded gently between the cliffs. Some are no larger than a single quiet room of grass, while others stretch for many soft miles. They are filled with wildflowers in summer, lupine and paintbrush and shooting stars, their colors mingling in soft pastel waves. Tiny streams trickle through them, edged with mossy stones, and butterflies move through the air in slow, drifting patterns. These hidden meadows are favorite resting places for deer and bears, who come to graze in the early morning, when the dew still glistens on the grass. To find one is like discovering a small secret of the valley, a soft, green pocket of stillness, a place that seems made just for sitting quietly, breathing softly, and allowing the world to grow gentle and wide around you. Lyell Glacier was once the largest glacier in Yosemite, a long, slow river of ancient ice high in the mountains. Even now, though it has grown smaller with the passing centuries, it remains a place of deep quiet, a hidden world of pale blue ice and soft white snow. The glacier sits in a high cirque of granite, surrounded by towering peaks, with tiny streams of meltwater drifting from its base in soft silver lines. The air there is cool and thin, scented faintly with stone and snow. Standing near it, you feel as though you have stepped into a much older world, one that moves slowly and breathes deeply. Lyell Glacier is a quiet teacher, reminding us that even ice has its own patience, its own slow song, sung gently across thousands of soft, shimmering years. The high country of Yosemite is filled with alpine lakes, small pools of clear water tucked among the granite peaks. Some are the color of polished sapphire, some pale jade, and others mirror the sky so perfectly that the line between water and air seems to vanish. They are fed by snowmelt and glacier streams, cold and pure, and surrounded by smooth stone and tender grasses. Tiny fish move slowly in their depths, and the wind that crosses their surfaces leaves only the gentlest ripples. Many of these lakes are visited by only a few quiet travelers each year, and so they remain almost untouched, holding their stillness like treasures. To rest beside one, watching the sky drift across its surface, is to feel the quiet of the high country settle softly into your bones, smoothing away every trace of hurry. Cathedral Lakes lie just below Cathedral Peak, two soft pools of clear blue water resting among meadows and granite slabs. They are small and gentle, edged with tall grasses and tiny wildflowers, and the reflection of Cathedral Peak rises perfectly in their still surfaces. In the early morning, mist rises slowly from the water, weaving through the trees and over the smooth stones. Wild trout drift in slow circles beneath the surface, and the wind moves softly across the lakes, leaving only the lightest patterns. Travelers often sit quietly along their banks, watching the slow drift of clouds, listening to the soft hum of insects in the meadow. Cathedral Lakes hold within them a sense of quiet sanctuary, hidden places of peace, where the high country gathers itself into a single still breath beneath the patient gaze of the mountains. Olmsted Point offers one of the most peaceful views in all of Yosemite, looking out across miles of smooth granite domes and distant valleys. The point itself is a wide, open shelf of stone, scattered with tiny lodgepole pines that have grown patiently in the cracks of the rock. From its edge, you can see the back of Half Dome rising softly in the distance, looking almost like a whale surfacing in a sea of granite. The wind carries the sweet scent of warm stone and high pine. Tiny chipmunks dart among the rocks, and ravens drift overhead in slow, easy circles. At sunset, the granite glows with a soft, rosy light, and the entire view seems to slow and quiet itself. Olmsted Point is a place to simply stand, breathe, and let the wide stillness of the high country wash gently over you. Pothole Dome is a small, friendly granite dome at the western edge of Tuolumne Meadows. Its slopes are gentle and smooth, easy to walk upon, and from its top, the whole meadow spreads out below like a soft green sea framed by silver peaks. Tiny pools of water gather in the natural hollows of the dome, called potholes, that give the dome its name. Wild flowers cluster around their edges, drinking the warm, reflected sunlight. The Tuolumne River winds slowly through the meadow nearby, its surface catching the colors of the sky. Marmots whistle from the rocks below, and the soft wind carries the scent of high grasses. To sit upon Pothole Dome at sunset, watching the meadow turn from green to gold, is to feel the entire high country fold itself around you in a single, peaceful, breathing embrace. Yosemite is famous for its starry night skies, far from city lights, where the stars seem almost close enough to touch. On clear nights, the Milky Way arches across the valley like a long ribbon of silver dust, and countless stars blink softly above the granite walls. Meteor showers sometimes pass overhead in summer, drawing soft lines of light across the dark, like quiet thoughts being written upon the sky. The granite cliffs glow faintly in the starlight, and the meadows hold pools of silver dew. Owls call gently from the trees, and the river murmurs quietly far below. To lie back in a meadow and gaze up at such a sky is to feel both very small and very held, a tiny soul resting beneath an enormous, gentle universe, breathing slowly with the slow breath of the stars. Yosemite is one of the few places where the night sky still shows the dim, glowing ribbon of the Milky Way without the dimming of artificial light. Arches across the valley from one horizon to the other, a long, soft band of silver made of countless distant stars too small to see one by one. Within it, dark shapes called dust lanes weave gentle patterns, like rivers seen from very high above. To gaze upon it is to look toward the heart of our own galaxy, the slow spinning home of our small blue Earth. Standing in the meadows beneath such a sky, one feels gently enfolded by the universe, held softly by the slow turning of countless suns. The stars shimmer quietly, and the granite walls seem to listen, and even the rivers below seem to flow a little more slowly. The valley floor is filled with cottonwood trees along the river, their leaves shimmering silver green in the breeze. In the autumn, they turn to a soft glowing gold, lining the Merced River like quiet candle flames. The wind through their leaves makes a sound very much like soft rain, gentle and soothing, a sound that seems made to lull all who hear it into peace. Their bark is the warm grey of old paper, soft to the touch, and their roots drink deeply from the river. In summer, they cast wide pools of cool shade, where deer come to rest in the heat of midday. In winter, their bare branches stand quietly against the snow, holding tiny patient buds in waiting for the spring. The cottonwoods of Yosemite seem to live with a soft, generous spirit, gentle companions to the slow river they love. The dogwood trees of Yosemite bloom in late spring with soft, four-petaled flowers that seem almost to glow against the dark green of the surrounding forest. Their petals are creamy white, sometimes faintly tinged with pink, and they open slowly over many gentle weeks. From a distance, a grove of blooming dogwoods looks like a soft constellation of pale stars resting just above the forest floor. The trees themselves are slender and graceful, with smooth bark and gracefully spreading branches. Bees move slowly among their flowers in the warm afternoon, and small birds rest in their soft shade. In autumn, their leaves deepen to a tender wine red. Glowing among the golden cottonwoods like rosy embers, the dogwoods bring a quiet beauty to Yosemite, a soft and tender presence, like a kindness whispered gently between old friends in the deep heart of the forest. The pine forests of Yosemite are filled with many different species, each with its own quiet song. The towering ponderosa pines have bark that smells faintly of warm vanilla on hot summer afternoons, and their long needles rustle softly in the wind. The sugar pines drop the longest cones of any pine in the world, sometimes nearly 2 feet long, hanging gracefully from their high branches. The lodgepole pines grow tall and straight in the high country, their trunks slim and pale. The Jeffrey pines smell of butterscotch and gentle spice. Walking among them, you breathe in their soft fragrance, and the carpet of needles beneath your feet hushes every step. The pines of Yosemite stand together as a quiet community, breathing slowly, sharing the soft wind, gently filling the air with their warm and ancient breath of resin and patient stone. The black oak trees of Yosemite were sacred to the Awanichi people, who gathered their acorns each autumn to make a soft, nourishing meal. The trees grow widely across the valley floor, with broad spreading branches and deeply lobed leaves that turn a tender gold in autumn. Their bark is dark and ridged, like the texture of old, warm earth. Beneath their wide branches, the ground stays cool in summer, and the deer come often to rest in their shade. In autumn, the acorns drop softly onto the forest floor, gathered by jays, squirrels, and bears alike. Even now, the black oaks stand as quiet ancestors of the valley, watching the seasons turn slowly, sheltering all who pass beneath them, their wide arms outstretched as if in patient blessing across the meadows, where so many gentle lives have come and gone. The wildflowers of Yosemite bloom in soft waves across the meadows from late spring through midsummer. There are deep purple lupines, their tiny flowers stacked in tall fragrant spires, and crimson Indian paintbrush, looking as though they had been dipped in soft ember-colored dye. There are pale white yarrow, with delicate flat-topped blossoms, and tender shooting stars, with petals that swoop back like tiny pink comets. There are blue forget-me-nots, golden wallflowers, and soft pink primroses. The meadows in full bloom resemble nothing so much as a tender, painted quilt spread across the valley floor. Bees and butterflies move among them in slow patterns, drinking the warm nectar, and the air is sweet with their subtle fragrance. To walk among them is to step softly through a living dream, a quiet sea of color, alive with gentle breath and patient sun. Mariposa lilies are among the most graceful wildflowers of Yosemite, their name meaning butterfly in Spanish. They grow on slender stems and open their petals slowly into wide, three-cornered cups, often pale white or soft lavender, sometimes touched with deep purple at their centers. They sway gently in the meadow breeze like tiny butterflies poised to take flight. Their petals so light and delicate, they almost seem to breathe. The lilies bloom across Yosemite's meadows in late spring and early summer, often hidden among taller grasses, waiting to be discovered by quiet eyes. Each flower lasts only a short while before drifting back into the earth, leaving its memory in the soft hum of bees. They are tender visitors, gentle reminders that beauty does not need to last forever to fill us with deep and lasting peace, even after it has gone. The shooting star wildflower is another tender treasure of Yosemite's meadows, with tiny pink petals that swoop back from a small dark center, just as its name suggests. From a distance, a meadow filled with shooting stars looks almost like the night sky comes softly down to rest upon the grass. They bloom in soft clusters along the edges of streams, where the soil is moist and cool, and they sway gently in the slightest breeze, as though always in motion, always falling, always becoming. The bees love them, and so do the small native birds. Children who see them often pause in surprise, delighted by their playful, dreamlike shapes. The shooting stars of Yosemite are humble flowers, no more than a few inches tall, yet they hold within them a quiet magic, a gentle reminder that wonder grows even in the smallest of places. The columbine flower of Yosemite is a soft, drooping bell of red and gold, hanging gracefully from delicate stems. Its petals curve back like tiny crowns, and inside, soft yellow stamens reach gently downward, inviting the slow visits of hummingbirds. The flowers grow along stream banks and in shady forest clearings, where they glow against the dark green of ferns and moss. In the morning, dewdrops hang from their petals like tiny lanterns, catching the light. In the evening, the flowers seem almost to shine on their own, holding the warm color of summer twilight, long after the sun has slipped behind the cliffs. The columbines are gentle creatures of the in-between places, where the deep forest meets the open meadow, where shade and sunlight quietly hold hands. They bloom softly, ask for nothing, and brighten the world simply by being. Yosemite is home to many gentle butterflies, including the elegant California sister, with wings of soft black, white, and orange. There is the pale swallowtail, which flies in slow, drifting patterns through the meadows, and the sleepy orange, whose name comes from the gentle way it folds its wings when at rest. Mourning cloaks, with their dark wings edged in pale gold, drift through the forest clearings, sometimes pausing to bask in the sun on a warm patch of stone. Painted ladies and tortoise shells move among the wildflowers in soft, quiet companionship. To watch a butterfly land on a flower, slowly opening and closing its wings in the warm afternoon light, is to witness a small, breathing prayer of color. They float through the valley like little fragments of dream made gently visible, drifting on the soft summer wind. The hummingbirds of Yosemite are tiny, jewel-like creatures. No larger than a small spoon, yet they fly with extraordinary grace. Anna's hummingbirds glow with a soft rosy throat, while Rufus hummingbirds shimmer in warm copper orange. They hover before flowers like tiny living gemstones, their wings beating so quickly they make a soft, whispering hum, like the gentle breath of the meadow itself. They drink nectar from columbines, paintbrush, and lupine, moving from blossom to blossom in slow, weightless dance. In quiet moments, they perch on tiny branches, their feathers fluffed against the breeze, watching the world with bright, curious eyes. Despite their endless motion, they seem somehow always at peace, fully present in each soft, glowing moment. They are tiny ambassadors of joy, drifting through the flowers like small living poems, written briefly and beautifully upon the air. In the evenings, fireflies sometimes appear in Yosemite's quietest meadows, though they are rare and shy. Their soft yellow lights blink slowly among the tall grasses, drifting up like tiny lanterns released from the earth. Each light is a gentle signal, a quiet greeting, a small flame of life flickering beneath the great starry sky. The valley has a way of holding such small lights tenderly, as though wrapping them in its own soft hush. Standing among the fireflies on a warm summer evening, the world seems to grow infinitely peaceful, a place of small, glowing wonders rising softly from the grass. It is easy to lose track of time, easy to feel that you have stepped into some old and gentle dream. Even after they fade with the deepening of night, the memory of those tiny lights stays warm in the heart. The bats of Yosemite emerge in the soft hour between sunset and dark, dipping and weaving through the air with quiet grace. They are small creatures, with soft fur and wide, leathery wings, and they fly with surprising delicacy, catching insects in mid-air with the lightest touch. There are several species in the valley, each with its own quiet rhythm, including the little brown bat, the long-eared myotis, and the western pipistrelle. They navigate the night using gentle echoes, sending out tiny sounds the human ear cannot quite hear, and listening for the soft return. In the day, they roost in caves and old trees, sleeping peacefully, hanging upside down with folded wings. At night, they dance soundlessly through the meadows above the river, weaving invisible patterns through the cool air, gentle keepers of the valley's quiet evening hours. Yosemite's frogs sing softly along its streams and meadows, especially in the cool hours of dusk and early night. The Pacific tree frog is among the most charming, no larger than a thumbnail, with bright eyes and a pale green back. Its voice is surprisingly clear and bell-like, a soft chirp that often joins together with many others in a gentle chorus. They cling to wet leaves and reeds, their tiny toes spreading flat and soft against the surface, and they leap with surprising grace from one perch to another. After warm rains, the meadows fill with their music, a soft and rhythmic song that drifts through the trees like a lullaby. Standing at the edge of a meadow at dusk, listening to the frogs sing, is to feel the world settle quietly into its evening, holding you gently in its soft, breathing hush. The salamanders of Yosemite live hidden lives beneath logs and damp stones in the valley's cool, mossy places. The Sierra Nevada ensatina is one of the most charming, a small, slim creature with soft brown skin marked by tiny pale spots. Their eyes are large and gentle, and they move with a slow, careful grace, as if savoring every step. They emerge most often after rains, when the air is cool and the earth smells of damp wood and leaves. Tiny insects move through the underbrush, and the salamanders hunt them with soft patience. Their lives are quiet ones, lived close to the earth, beneath the soft cover of fallen leaves and forest moss. To find one is a gentle gift, a small reminder that even in the smallest, most hidden places, there are tender lives unfolding slowly, beautifully, in their own peaceful way. The granite of Yosemite is so old that its origins reach back nearly 100 million years. It was formed deep beneath the surface of the earth, where ancient pools of molten rock cooled slowly into the pale, smooth stone we see today. Over millions of years, the layers of earth above were gently worn away by wind and rain, revealing the granite below. Then came the slow, patient glaciers, carving the cliffs into the shapes we now know. Each granite wall holds within it a deep memory of fire and patience, of cooling and rising, of slow, quiet becoming. To press your hand to the smooth stone is to touch a piece of the world far older than human memory. The granite of Yosemite teaches one of the gentlest lessons of all. Beauty is patient and worth the slow turning of countless silent ages. Some of the granite cliffs of Yosemite are streaked with long, dark lines that run vertically down their pale faces. These lines are called desert varnish, a thin coating left behind by the slow, gentle drip of water and minerals over many thousands of years. They paint the cliffs in soft brushstrokes of black, gray, gold, and soft red, like the strokes of a careful artist who has been working patiently across countless quiet years. From below, the streaks look almost like the long folds of a great cloak draped across the granite shoulders of the cliffs. They glow softly in the evening light, deepening with the colors of the setting sun. Even the smallest detail of Yosemite is created slowly, lovingly, by the patient hands of time, and even the cliffs themselves wear their own gentle, silent paintings. Tophonia are tiny, honeycomb-like patterns sometimes seen in Yosemite's granite, formed by the slow weathering of the stone over countless centuries. They look like delicate lacework carved into the surface of the cliffs, with small hollows and gentle ridges that give the stone a soft, almost dreamlike texture. Up close, they reveal a beauty that is easy to miss from a distance. A quiet artistry created by wind and water and patient time. Lichens often grow within them, painting the patterns in soft colors of pale green and silver. Touching them, you can feel the soft variations of the stone beneath your fingertips. Tophonia are reminders that beauty is woven into even the smallest details of the world, and that the greatest works of art are sometimes the slowest, made not by human hands, but by the gentle persistence of time itself. The native Awanichi believed that Yosemite Valley was a place of deep spirit, filled with stories and ancient meaning. Each cliff, each waterfall, each river bend had its own soft tale, passed quietly from one generation to the next. Tutocanola was their name for the cliff we now call El Capitan, and it was thought to be the home of a great spirit who watched over the valley. Pohono, the puffing wind, was the spirit of Bridal Veil Fall. Even the meadows had their own gentle stories, alive with the breath of the earth and sky. The valley was not simply a place to live, but a sacred home, beloved deeply, walked softly, treated as kin. Their stories still drift quietly through the trees and over the granite, carried on the wind, woven into the slow heartbeat of the gentle land. The wood from Yosemite's incense cedar trees has a soft, warm scent that fills the forest like a quiet song. The trees themselves grow tall and straight, with soft, fibrous bark the color of warm cinnamon. Their leaves are tiny, scaled, deeply green, and they release their fragrance most strongly on warm afternoons, when the sun warms their needles and their bark. To walk through a grove of incense cedars is to breathe air sweetened with their gentle perfume, almost like a forest of slow-burning candles. Native peoples used the wood for carving and shelter, and to this day, its scent remains a familiar friend to those who walk the valley. The incense cedars stand quietly throughout Yosemite, breathing softly into the air, gently flavoring every passing breeze with the warm, comforting scent of an old, peaceful forest. Lichens grow softly across the granite cliffs and tree trunks of Yosemite in many quiet colors. There are pale green lichens, like soft mist, golden lichens like brushed sunlight, and silvery white lichens that look like delicate frost. Some grow in tiny, branching shapes, others spread flat across the stone like soft, frozen ripples. They are among the slowest growing things in the world, sometimes adding less than a millimeter each year. Despite their slowness, they brighten the valley with subtle color, painting the cliffs in soft patches that change with the seasons. They do not need rich soil or great roots, only gentle sun, soft mist, and patient time. Lichens are tender artists, working in such slow strokes that we hardly notice them. Yet without their soft touch, the cliffs of Yosemite would not feel quite so warmly alive. Mosses grow in the cool, damp corners of Yosemite, lining the banks of streams and the bases of trees in soft, deep green velvet. They drink slowly from the mist, opening tiny green leaves to the gentle moisture in the air. After rain, they swell with water, becoming soft and lush, glowing emerald in the dim forest light. In the dry season, they dry into pale gold, sleeping quietly until the next rain wakes them again. Some mosses are no taller than a fingernail, while others spread across stone in wide, gentle blankets. They cushion the forest floor, soften the riverbanks, and gather small tidings of sunlight along the trunks of old trees. Mosses are humble companions of the deeper forest, soft, slow, and patient, asking nothing more than the gentle return of rain and the patient breath of the seasons. The soundscape of Yosemite is one of the most peaceful in all of nature. There is the soft and constant whisper of the rivers, the patient hum of wind through pine boughs, the gentle drip of mist falling from cedar branches after rain. There is the soft music of birdsong, the high ringing of mountain frogs, the slow murmur of bees among flowers. At night, there is the gentle hoot of owls, the rustle of small creatures in the leaves, the soft murmur of a distant waterfall. Each sound is gentle, never loud, never harsh, woven softly together into a single living lullaby. Listening carefully, you might find your breath beginning to match the rhythm of the valley itself, slow and patient, peaceful and full. Yosemite sings softly, always, to those who listen kindly, and its quiet song is older than we can measure. The smell of Yosemite is a rich and gentle perfume, woven from many different gentle ingredients. There is the warm vanilla scent of ponderosa pine in the sun, the cool, damp earthiness of moss after rain, the soft sweetness of meadow wildflowers in summer. There is the distant cool freshness of waterfalls, the warm cinnamon smell of incense cedar bark, the gentle mineral scent of granite warmed by the afternoon sun. In autumn, the air carries the rich scent of fallen leaves and ripe wild apples. In winter, it smells of clean snow and pine sap, sharp and pure. These scents drift softly through the valley with every breeze, gentle gifts to the breath, soft companions to every walk. To breathe in the air of Yosemite is to fill your lungs with a quiet, fragrant story written by the patient land itself. The light of Yosemite changes gently with every hour of the day. In the early morning, spills softly into the valley as a pale gold mist, lighting the granite cliffs with quiet warmth. By midday, the light grows bright and clear, casting deep shadows beneath the trees and turning the meadows into shimmering green seas. In the afternoon, the light begins to soften, tinting the cliffs with subtle rose. At sunset, the entire valley fills with a deep amber glow, as though the granite itself were lit from within by a slow, gentle fire. After dark, moonlight transforms the cliffs into soft silver, and starlight scatters quietly across the meadows. Yosemite's light is endlessly tender, always changing, always soft, always painting the valley in new and gentle colors, like a slow, careful brush moving lovingly across a deep, breathing canvas. Alpenglow is a quiet phenomenon in which the highest peaks of Yosemite seem to glow gently from within during the moments just after sunset. The cliffs of El Capitan and the curve of Half Dome catch the last warm rays of the sun long after the valley below has fallen into shade, turning a deep, glowing pink. From the meadows, you can watch the granite blush slowly, as though the mountains themselves were drawing in one final breath of daylight. The color deepens into rose, then softens into purple, then fades gently into the dusk. It is a soft farewell, a quiet kiss from the day before night arrives. Travelers who witness alpenglow often stand in silence, watching the slow shift of color, breathing in time with the mountains. It is a peaceful gift, given freely to anyone willing to pause and look. The frost flowers of Yosemite appear on the coldest mornings, when delicate ribbons of ice form on the stems of certain plants in the meadows. The slow water within the stem freezes and pushes its way outward through tiny cracks, curling into soft, lacy patterns that look almost like tiny flowers made of glass. They are fragile and fleeting, lasting only a few hours before the morning sun gently melts them away. To find one in a quiet meadow at dawn feels like discovering a tender secret, a small gift left by the night for those who walk softly through the cold. They bloom only in winter, and only in certain places, and only when the air is just right. Frost flowers are gentle reminders that even the coldest mornings can hold their own tender beauty, hidden softly in the silence. In the deep heart of winter, the snow in Yosemite can grow many feet thick, covering the meadows in soft white blankets that sparkle in the morning sun. Each snowflake, falling slowly from the gray sky, carries within it a tiny, intricate pattern, no two ever quite the same. Together, they layer softly upon one another, creating a hush so deep that even your own breath seems to settle into stillness. The trees wear gentle white shawls upon their branches, and the granite cliffs, dusted with snow, glow with a soft pale silver. Tracks of deer and rabbit wander through the meadows, soon to be filled in again by quiet, falling flakes. Even the rivers slow beneath thin glass-like sheets of ice. The snow gathers everything into peace, blanketing the world in a soft white quilt, gently inviting all of the valley to rest deeply. The Mariposa Battalion was the first group of European settlers to enter Yosemite Valley in the early 1850s. They were so moved by what they saw that they wrote of it in tones of quiet awe, calling it a place beyond words, a place beyond imagination. Even hardened travelers, accustomed to the long roads of the West, paused to weep softly at the beauty before them. Their accounts traveled slowly back across the country, drawing artists, writers, and dreamers into the gentle embrace of the valley. Painters came to capture its light, photographers came to record its cliffs, and poets came simply to sit quietly among its meadows. From those first quiet impressions, a long love affair began between Yosemite and all those who entered it, a love story still unfolding gently, softly, in the heart of every traveler who comes here today. In the year 1864, while a great war was being fought far away, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Yosemite Grant, the very first time in history that the government of any nation set aside land specifically for its preservation and the gentle enjoyment of its people. It was a small but extraordinary act, a quiet kindness amid the turbulence of the times. Yosemite Valley and the Mariposa Grove were to be preserved forever, kept safe for the slow wonder of all generations to come. Without quite realizing it, that gentle act planted the seed of the entire modern idea of national parks, an idea that would soon spread across the world, from a single signature, on a single page, in a single quiet office, came the long protection of countless beautiful lands, gathered into stillness, kept softly for the patient enjoyment of all. John Muir, the gentle Scottish-American naturalist, fell deeply in love with Yosemite Valley when he first visited it in 1868. He spent many years walking its meadows, climbing its peaks, and listening quietly to its rivers, often sleeping beneath the open sky with little more than a small loaf of bread and a thin blanket. He wrote of the valley with such tenderness that his words still carry across time, soft as the wind through pines. He believed that the wild places of the world were temples for the spirit, places where the soul could grow quiet and whole. His gentle love for Yosemite helped persuade the country to protect it forever, transforming the valley into a national park in 1990. His heart still seems to walk softly through the meadows, written into every patient stone of the valley. John Muir once spent an entire night perched in the upper branches of a Douglas fir during a great mountain storm, simply to feel the wind sing through the trees. He climbed slowly upward as the wind grew strong, and there he stayed, swaying back and forth in the embrace of the swaying tree, listening to the wild music of the storm. He wrote of it afterward as one of the most beautiful experiences of his life, calling it a kind of soft, wild prayer. Even in the wildest weather, he found beauty rather than fear. His life was one long, gentle conversation with nature, full of slow walking and patient listening. To remember him is to remember that wonder is everywhere, hidden in the small details of every wind and tree, waiting softly for those willing to climb gently up and listen. Galen Clark was the first guardian of Yosemite, appointed in 1866 to watch over the valley with quiet care. He lived simply in a small cabin near the Mariposa Grove, walking the trails each day, tending to the giant sequoias as if they were old, beloved friends. He was a gentleman, soft-spoken and patient, who believed that even a single careful step could make a quiet difference to the land. He greeted travelers warmly, told them stories of the valley, and reminded them to walk softly. When he passed away, he was buried in a quiet meadow he himself had chosen, beneath the trees he had loved most. Even now, his gentle spirit seems woven into the valley, a soft and tender guardian, still walking the trails, watching kindly over every traveler who comes to rest within these patient, sheltering walls. Ansel Adams was a photographer who fell in love with Yosemite as a child. When his parents brought him to the valley for the very first time, the light, the granite, the meadows, the rivers, all entered his heart and remained there forever. He spent his lifetime returning, again and again, capturing the soft, rich light of Yosemite in photographs of such depth and stillness that they seem almost to breathe. His pictures showed the world the slow, gentle beauty of the valley, the way mist drifts across the meadows, the way moonlight glows upon the cliffs. Through his patient lens, Yosemite was carried to people far across the world, into homes that would never have known its quiet wonder otherwise. His photographs still hum softly with reverence, holding each captured moment with the tender care of a deep and patient love. The Ahwahnee Hotel sits gently among the trees on the valley floor, built of warm timber and pale stone, designed to feel like a soft extension of the valley itself. Its great fireplace, made of native granite, has warmed countless travelers through countless winter evenings, while its tall windows look out onto the meadows and cliffs beyond. Inside, the wooden beams are carved with patterns inspired by the native peoples of the region, and the ceilings rise high and gentle above quiet sitting rooms. In the great lounge, soft chairs invite weary guests to sit and gaze out at the gentle scenery. The hotel was opened in 1927 and has welcomed quiet travelers ever since, holding within its walls the soft, settled feeling of having truly come home, a home tucked tenderly into the slow heart of the valley. The firefall, once a beloved tradition of Yosemite, was a quiet evening ritual where glowing embers were pushed gently from the cliffs of Glacier Point, falling more than 3,000 feet through the soft night air. From the valley below, it looked like a slow, glowing waterfall of fire, drifting downward in shimmering golden ribbons. People would gather quietly in the meadows to watch, their voices hushed in soft awe. The firefall was discontinued long ago, in 1968, to allow the natural rhythms of the valley to remain undisturbed. But each year now, in late February, a different kind of firefall takes its place. The setting sun strikes Horsetail Fall on the eastern face of El Capitan in just the right way, lighting its falling water in a soft, glowing orange that looks for all the world like flowing fire. The slow, patient passage of glaciers shaped the U-shape of Yosemite Valley, scooping its bottom into the wide, gentle floor we walk upon today. Where rivers carve narrow, V-shaped valleys, ice carves wide ones, with rounded sides and broad meadows below. Standing in the valley today, looking up at the high cliffs on either side, one is gazing into a great soft bowl shaped slowly by frozen water over many tens of thousands of years. Even the smooth, rounded shapes of the granite domes around the valley are gifts of the patient ice. To know this is to feel the soft fingerprints of the glaciers still upon the land, still resting gently in the curves of every meadow and the soft slope of every cliff, a quiet memory written deeply into the very shape of the valley itself. The Tioga Road climbs gently from the valley floor up into the high country, winding through forests of pine and across wide alpine meadows. It is one of the highest paved roads in California, opening only in summer when the snow has melted away. From the road, the views unfold slowly, each turn revealing some new gentle wonder: a quiet lake here, a granite dome there, a soft meadow filled with wildflowers. Travelers often stop simply to sit beside the road and watch the high country breathe. The air is thin and cool and carries the scent of pine and warm stone. The sky above is a deep, steady blue. Driving the Tioga Road is a slow, peaceful journey through a high and tender world where every mile invites a deeper breath, a slower step, a softer moment of quiet wonder. The high meadows of the Tioga Pass are filled with cushion plants, tiny alpine flowers that grow close to the ground in soft, low mounds. They survive the cold by huddling together, conserving warmth in the patient shape of soft green pillows. Their flowers are tiny, often pink, white, or pale yellow, opening for only a short time each summer before the snows return. They grow slowly, sometimes only a fraction of an inch each year, building their soft cushions over many decades of patient growth. Tiny insects crawl among them, and the sun warms them gently in the brief alpine afternoons. These gentle plants are tender survivors of a quiet, lofty world, asking little, giving much, blooming in soft beauty, even where the air is thin and the cold winds long. They teach the slow magic of resilient gentleness in the patient high country. Yosemite is filled with many quiet caves, formed slowly over countless millennia by the patient work of water and stone. Some are small hollows tucked beneath cliffs. Others are deeper passages winding through the rock. Bats roost peacefully within them, hanging quietly from the high ceilings. Mineral deposits sometimes line their walls in soft pale colors, and tiny streams trickle quietly through their depths, carrying cool, clean water from the high country. The air inside is steady and cool, untouched by the heat of summer or the cold of winter. Standing within a cave, one feels held softly by the patient earth itself, surrounded by the slow whispers of stone and water. They are quiet sanctuaries, hidden places of stillness, where the valley keeps some of its softest secrets, tucked gently away from the busy world above, breathing slowly in the dark. The bedrock mortars of Yosemite are smooth, rounded hollows worn into granite stones by the patient hands of the Awanichi people, who used them to grind acorns into a soft, nourishing flour. Many of these stones can still be found along the meadows, their hollows softened by countless quiet hours of work. Some of the stones have many hollows, made by many generations of women working side by side, sharing stories, songs, and laughter as they ground the acorns into meal. To press your hand into one of these smooth hollows is to touch a small piece of an ancient, gentle life. To feel the soft warmth of countless patient afternoons. They are tender remembrances, written into the very stone of the valley, of a quiet way of living deeply in tune with the slow, generous gifts of the patient land. The stories of the native peoples of Yosemite often spoke of animals as gentle relatives, each with its own quiet wisdom to share. Coyote was the trickster, full of soft mischief and clever tales. Bear was the quiet protector, patient and strong. Eagle was the watcher in the sky, carrying messages between worlds. Even the smallest creatures, the chipmunk, the lizard, the dragonfly, had their own honored places in the gentle stories told around quiet fires. The world was not divided into people and animals, but woven together into a soft community, each part necessary, each part love. To remember these stories is to feel the deep kindness with which the valley was once seen, and still asks to be seen, a place where every breath of life is treasured, every gentle creature a soft friend. The Indian caves near the valley floor are large boulders that fell long ago from the cliffs above, leaving great hollow spaces beneath. The Awanichi people sometimes used them as cool, gentle shelters during the warm summer months, and the stones still carry the faint memory of those quiet days. Inside, the air is steady and cool, the walls smooth where countless hands have brushed against them. Light filters in through narrow openings, casting soft pools of gold upon the floor. Children once played among them, and elders once told quiet stories within their hush. They are still beloved by those who visit them, places where time seems to gather softly, where the layered breath of generations seems still to whisper through the stones, gentle and patient, like the quiet humming of a soft and tender lullaby. The nights in Yosemite are filled with gentle sounds. The river murmurs softly on its slow journey. Owls call quietly from the trees, and far in the distance, a small chorus of frogs sings beside the cool meadows. Wind moves slowly through the pines, making a sound like the soft turning of pages. Occasionally, a single deer steps gently through the grass, leaving the faintest whisper of motion. Even the stars seem to make their own quiet music, a steady humming silence that fills the deep sky. There is no harshness in the night here, no sharp sound to startle the heart. Everything has been gently softened by the long, patient breath of the valley. To listen to a Yosemite night is to feel held in a soft, sleeping cradle, surrounded by the gentle music of a world breathing quietly toward dawn. In the early hours just before dawn, Yosemite seems to hold its breath, suspended between night and morning. The cliffs glow softly silver in the last hour of starlight. Mist begins to gather along the river, drifting in slow, dreamlike veils across the meadows. The first birds begin to wake, calling sleepily from the trees, a soft chorus stirring slowly to life. The sky above the eastern peaks deepens from black to deep blue, and the granite walls take on the pale glow of pearl. Deer move quietly through the meadows, and the air is cool and rich with the gentle scent of dew and pine. It is a tender, sacred hour, full of soft anticipation, the slow gathering of the new day. To witness such a quiet dawn is to feel the world being gently born again, softly, peacefully, before your eyes. The first light of morning enters Yosemite slowly, falling first upon the highest tips of the cliffs, then drifting downward in long, gentle waves of warm gold. Half-Dome glows soft pink against the deepening blue sky, and El Capitan catches the warm light upon its broad face. As the sun rises higher, the meadows fill with light, and the dew that lay quietly upon the grass shines in tiny silver drops. The river catches the light upon its surface, glittering softly in long, quiet ribbons. Birds begin their morning songs in earnest, weaving the soft music of the valley together. The air grows gently warmer, carrying with it the scent of warm pine and damp earth. Morning in Yosemite is a slow, tender awakening, the world gently opening its eyes after the long, peaceful night. Soft and full of gentle promise, the afternoons in Yosemite stretch slowly across the meadows like a soft golden blanket. The sun warms the cliffs until they glow with a deep amber light, and the air grows still and rich. The cottonwoods rustle quietly in the gentle breeze, and the river slows beneath the warm sun, its surface flickering with reflected gold. Bees hum among the wildflowers, and butterflies drift through the air in slow, lazy patterns. Deer rest in the shade of the great oaks, their eyes half closed, breathing softly. The whole valley seems to slow into a gentle hush, a peaceful afternoon dream. There is no hurry here, no urgency at all, only the slow, sweet stretching of time. Yosemite afternoons are tender invitations to rest, to lean back into the warm grass, to close your eyes and let the soft light hold you for a while. As evening begins to fall in Yosemite, the cliffs slowly turn from gold to soft rose. The sky deepens through gentle layers of color: peach, lavender, lilac, deep blue. Long shadows pour across the meadows, and the rivers shimmer with the last light of day. The deer return to the meadows for their evening graze, and the swallows wheel through the air in soft, sweeping arcs. The first stars begin to appear above the eastern peaks, faint and trembling at first, then brighter. A coolness gathers in the air, and the trees begin to settle into their evening hush. There is a sense of soft completion, the day folding itself gently away. Evening in Yosemite is unhurried, patient, full of quiet beauty. It is a tender goodbye to the day, a soft welcome to the long, peaceful night ahead. The full moon over Yosemite is a quiet wonder. It rises slowly from behind the eastern peaks, large and luminous, casting its soft silver light across the entire valley. The cliffs glow pale and dreamlike, the meadows shimmer with a gentle pearly hush, and the river takes on a soft, glowing light. Trees cast long, soft shadows across the silver grass, and tiny stars peek shyly through the moonlit sky. Owls call gently from the pines, and small creatures move quietly through the brush. The world feels deeply held, softly cradled, as though the moon itself were singing the valley a slow lullaby. To stand in a meadow beneath such a full moon is to feel the deep, gentle peace of the night settle into your heart, a quiet silver calm that asks only that you breathe softly and be still. When clouds drift gently into Yosemite Valley, they often gather around the peaks before flowing slowly into the meadows below, like soft white rivers pouring down from the cliffs. They wrap themselves around El Capitan, drape themselves softly over Half Dome, and settle into the lower valley in long, quiet veils. From above, the valley looks like a sea of gentle mist, with the peaks rising like tiny green islands. From below, the cliffs seem to disappear into a soft, dreamlike sky. The air grows cool and damp, smelling of clean rain and warm pine. After the clouds clear, the valley shines anew, every leaf and stone glittering softly with droplets of fresh water. Yosemite under cloud is a quiet, hushed wonder, soft and tender, a gentle reminder that even the heaviest weather can carry its own deep, breathing peace. After a soft rain in Yosemite, the whole valley seems to glow. The air grows clean and pure, scented with the rich earthy fragrance of damp moss, pine, and stone. The leaves shine wet and bright. The flowers stand a little taller, and tiny droplets cling to every petal and blade of grass, like soft glass beads. The rivers flow with renewed strength, their voices a little fuller. Mist drifts slowly through the meadows, and the cliffs are streaked with shimmering water. Sometimes, just after the rain ends, a soft rainbow rises gently over the valley, arching from one cliff to another in delicate ribbons of color. Birds emerge from their shelters and sing once again. The whole valley breathes a deep, refreshed breath, and everything feels softly renewed, washed clean by the patient kindness of the gentle rain. There is a certain old saying among those who have walked Yosemite long enough to know its slow, quiet rhythms, that the valley is a gentle teacher. It teaches the slow patience of granite, the soft persistence of water, the quiet strength of the giant sequoia. It teaches that beauty grows slowly, that wonder waits patiently for those who pause to look. It teaches that even the longest, hardest seasons of life soften eventually into spring. It teaches that joy can be found in the smallest of gentle places, in a single wildflower, a single drop of dew, a single quiet breeze. To love Yosemite is to be softly changed by it, to carry within you forever a small piece of its calm, its kindness, its slow, patient grace. And tonight, as you rest, may a little of that patient peace softly stay with you. And so our gentle wandering through Yosemite slowly begins to soften into evening. Like a long, peaceful river finding its way back to the quiet sea, our story drifts now toward its tender close. There is no hurry, no need to gather anything up. Everything we have shared tonight has settled gently into the still pool of your heart, where it will remain, soft and quiet. Long after the last word has faded, think for a moment of all we have visited together. The vast pale face of El Capitan glowing in the soft amber of dawn, the smooth and patient curve of Half Dome holding its silent watch over the valley, the long silver ribbons of Yosemite Falls drifting slowly down through the cool mountain air, the hidden meadows filled with shooting stars and lupine, the high country lakes mirroring the deep blue sky, the giant sequoias breathing slowly with the wisdom of 3,000 quiet years. We have walked beside the gentle Merced River, listened to the soft chorus of frogs at dusk, watched the moonbow shimmer through the mist of the falls, and gazed at the long, glowing band of the Milky Way arching across a sky undimmed by any light but its own. We have visited cathedrals of stone, walked among ancient cedars, and rested beside hidden waterfalls. We have remembered the patient hands of the Awanichi people, the quiet wanderings of John Muir, the soft photographs of Ansel Adams, the gentle love that has watched over this valley for more than 160 years. And in all of this, we have found again and again the same soft truth, that the most beautiful things in the world are made slowly, quietly, with great patience and great care. That stillness is its own kind of strength. That softness is its own kind of song. Now, as the stars begin to gather more thickly above the granite walls of memory, let us turn together toward the slow and tender closing of our journey. Let your breath deepen now, slow and warm, like the patient breath of the valley itself in the soft hour before dawn. Let your shoulders soften into the cradle of your pillow, and let the day's last small thoughts drift away, like leaves on the gentle Merced, carried softly downstream by waters that have flowed for thousands of years and ask for nothing in return. You have done enough today. You have been enough today. There is nothing left to solve tonight. Nothing left to carry. Nothing left to hold. The world has agreed to wait for you until morning, and the meadows of your rest stretch wide and gentle before you. Imagine yourself now in a soft meadow at the heart of Yosemite Valley. The grass is cool and tender beneath you. Above you, the sky is filled with stars, more stars than you could ever count, scattered like silver dust across the deep, patient dark. Half Dome rises softly in the distance, glowing pale silver in the moonlight. The river murmurs gently somewhere beyond the trees, singing its slow lullaby. The pines whisper quietly in the warm summer breeze. There is nothing to fear here, nothing to chase, nothing to hold. There is only stillness, only kindness, only rest. Let the granite hold you. Let the meadow soften beneath you. Let the moon watch gently over your sleep, just as it has watched over the valley for 10,000 quiet nights. Let your breath slow into the soft breath of the trees, and let your heart settle into the slow, gentle rhythm of the river. If you found peace in our gentle journey tonight, you are warmly invited to return whenever sleep feels far away. A soft like, a quiet subscribe, helps our little candle of calm shine on for others searching for stillness. Just as you were tonight, we will be here, waiting gently, with another slow story to share. Now drift, slowly, softly, deeply. Sleep well, Dear traveler, good night and sleep deeply.